seeming really high. Is it still weird? It still looks okay. Is it good? Yes. All right.
All right, joining us now is South Dakota head coach Don Plitzowite. Coach, would you like to provide an opening statement, or do you just want to get to questions?
Let's just go to questions.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Questions?
I can be long-winded in those, so that'll be okay.
Jay Elson, Midco Sports. Don, we talked a little bit about your familiarity with Ole Miss head coach, and we talked to her this morning about that too. And just how advantageous is that to at least have that in these scenarios where you're placed against a team you haven't seen before?
Well, Yoa's done a tremendous job wherever she's been, and certainly has a great team at Ole Miss right now. They play really aggressively on both ends of the court. They also are very disciplined. So, the familiarity piece is great to have, but certainly, what we understand is really their level of toughness and competitiveness.
Coach, Shakira Austin, obviously, is someone that's had a lot of success this year, one of the best bigs in the country. How do you try to slow down someone of her caliber?
Well, that certainly is a challenge. She's someone who is among the best players in the country, and someone who can find ways to score over the top of you, to get around you, to kind of hang and score. She's such a great offensive rebounder. She's a great shot blocker. So I think certainly we're going to have to be very aware, and we're going to have to, find ways to commit more than one player to try to slow her down to the best of our ability without putting us in a position where we're giving too much else up, because their guards are very dynamic. Scott's very dynamic, so they find a lot of ways to put you in really tough spots, and she's certainly a leader in that for them.
You've obviously played very guard-heavy lineups all season long. With the amount of size that they have at their forward spots, could you potentially change that at all in this game, or you're going to kind of trust what you've had?
Well, I think we certainly have to do what we do to the best of our ability. At the same time, I do believe that our young ladies are capable of making adjustments when we have to make adjustments. And, I really believe that our young ladies have awareness of having to guard different positions and different ways that we have to try to put ourselves in the best possible situation. So if we have to play bigger lineups than normal, I do believe our players are accustomed to being able to make changes.
Coach, you've been hearing a lot about the Ole Miss defense, one of the calling cards of their team, and their athleticness and the aggressiveness that they have. When you watch tape on how this team defends, when you evaluate that, what challenges does it present that maybe you don't see from the average team? What's going to be more difficult against this team?
Well, first of all, I think the word athleticness is a word I'm going to use more often. I love that word. I've never even heard it before. That's their athleticness. So yeah, I think their defense is a defense that can give you some different looks and some different press scenarios. They certainly have the ability to lock individual players down. They have the ability to help early get back to players. They have the ability, to block a lot of shots, limit offensive opportunities, in terms of rebounds. So, yeah, they can provide challenges in a lot of different ways. And so certainly our players are going to have to play aggressively and also as intelligently as possible, and play disciplined basketball and try to get as many good shots as we can get.
Some Ole Miss's players were talking this morning about how they might be a team that, you guys have never seen before, but, obviously with all the scheduling you do in the beginning of the season, I guess, what are some of the teams that maybe that Ole Miss reminds you of, just that were on your schedule earlier in the season?
Well, certainly we've had a chance to play against two other SEC teams that are I think, very good programs, great teams. South Carolina is a great defensive team as well as a great offensive team. So is Ole Miss. I think there's a lot of similarities in those type of teams. Texas A&M was a great matchup for us. Pitt had some great athletes that we had to compete with. And I think there's different components of a lot of different players that we've played against and teams that we've played against that we can kind of, maybe it's not the whole team is similar, but there are similarities between this player that we've played against and the player that we're playing in Ole Miss. And so we look at some of those type of things and make comparisons that way for some of our players if we haven't seen the whole team in that type of way.
Don, one thing that your players have that theirs don't is tournament experience. Is that relevant here?
Well, you hope that it is. Certainly, that would be advantageous to us. I think our players understand what they need to do and want to accomplish, and we know that it's going to be a toughness battle on both ends of the court. And so, I think our players are approaching this with, an enthusiasm, but also, a right mindset of just getting to work and getting back to work. We have another opportunity to play, and we're going to do our best to take advantage of that and play to the best of our ability.
Does getting here just kind of help click into place the size of this stage? I know you talk so much about the excitement of getting here in the selection process and all that, but to actually get here, get out on that floor for the first time, is that a key moment when you get into these settings?
I think it definitely is. There's no question. When you get to see the arena for the first time, you walk in and you see all the March Madness, the logos, you see all the signage. It's kind of a really neat aspect for our young ladies. They get to take that all in. At the same time, I think what our players have done a really good job of is being in the precious present, being in the moment. And that's a really fun moment. We want our players to celebrate that and take their selfies and do all those kind of things, okay? Then put your stuff in the locker room and then let's go onto the court. And yeah, it'd be kind of fun, but then when we're on the court and after we're warmed up, it's time to go. And so I think they're really, more aware maybe than we've been in the past of how to kind of separate and be in the moment. And there are different times during the course of just being here in this facility that we have to be in different modes.
Ole Miss forces a low percentage from three, and teams don't really take a lot of threes against them either. I guess, what are some of the things that you've seen on film about how they take away the three on defense?
Well, I think they do a really good job of guarding the ball one-on-one to the best of their ability so they don't have to overhelp and give up opportunities that are kick-out three opportunities. And so, yeah, they make it really, really challenging. They're very good at guarding you in positions where you're not able to really screen to just get a wide-open shot. You're not able to just penetrate kick to get wide-open shots. So you've got to find other ways to try to break them down and then maximize the opportunities that you do get.
Talking about your defense, I mean, you guys statistically have one of the best in the country as well. So how is that something, you can use to your advantage to, slow them down if their defense is doing the same?
Well, the great part for our young ladies is they've seen different styles of play. They've been in different environments. And so hopefully that at least allows us to be aware of how we have to guard either different players on their team or different actions or what our counters are to some of the things that they're doing and having, potential success with. What can we do? What changes can we make?
What's been easier about just getting here and getting prepared and getting settled in compared to last time around when the COVID measures were so strict and everybody was so separated the whole time?
Yeah, it was a very different experience last year. Absolutely. We were able to get there, but we weren't able to spend time together, and that's a huge part of the fun. The memories that you make, you're not typically making memories hanging out by yourself. And so that's what last year was about, outside of your practice time or your game time. So this has been certainly a much better experience in that regard for our young ladies because there's a togetherness piece, there's a bonding piece that takes place during it.
All right, Coach, we've got one more question. We're going to go to Zoom. And Zach James. Zach, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Don?
Yes, we can.
Wow, that's
Your
pretty
question
cool.
for Coach.
Don, what's it been like? You've talked about the precious presence. How much have you taught that to the younger girls about just that balance that the guys have talked about when you're off the court, you can have fun, but when you're on the floor, it's time to work. How much have you talked about that type of precious presence with the younger girls?
Right, I think our upperclassmen, to answer your question, Zach, have done a very good job of modeling what that really looks like. This is our time now. This is our time we're in film or getting ready during the course of the week, and this is the time to be locked in. This is the time that we're hanging out. We're going to have some fun together, and so we're going to enjoy those moments together. So I think the younger players in our program have a chance to see that being modeled and lived out, and I think that's probably where you learn it the best, is being able to see that.
How much for the younger girls? How important is it going to be if Ole Miss defense try to lock down the big three? How much, like for Grace, for example, how big is it going to be for Grace to kind of have to step up tomorrow?
Well, certainly Ole Miss is a team that forces you into situations where you have to be able to score in whichever way that is in terms of what they're giving you, and they don't give you a whole lot. And so when you have a good opportunity, you have to be able to recognize it, and take the shot or the score opportunity, and that may be one of the big three, and it very well may not be. And so for us, it's going to have to be a situation where it's equal opportunity, and whoever has that opportunity needs to maximize that.
All right, thank you, Zach. We'll let you get back to the other game. All right, thanks. All right, thank you so much,
that
Coach,
was
and good
awesome.
luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
A recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you so much for joining us.